Okay, so we're just going to finish off this video tutorial with chapter 4. Isabel, you want to give us an intro for chapter 4?
Chapter 4.
Yeah, I know. A bit tedious now. All right, so I kind of didn't mention this before, but clearly if we take that scan layer and just turn it invisible, there's your line drawing. And you can just color it in, finish the spokes, but you get the idea. It looks quite big, but of course it's small. In this particular case, life size. Okay, so I'm just going to turn the scan back on for now. So one more thing that I wanted to show you is this other guy. So here we are with the scan. Now again, before we work on this, I would try and set it a bit more horizontal or vertical. Take a nice thin colourful line as our baseline. Take the scan and rotate it a bit. Let's try 5 degrees again. Not enough. Move it up to the line. You can see it's still not quite enough. Alright, so let's assume that that's perfectly horizontal. You can fit a little bit more when you do it. And again, we'll now assign that to the scans layer. A bit weird, hang on. Layer, assign to layer. I don't know where the scans layer went, but you get the idea. Okay. We'll lock that layer. Now we can't select it, so that's good. Don't really need this horizontal line anymore. But actually a vertical one would probably help us more because this is symmetrical down the center line. Alright, so we'll put that center line reasonably accurately. You can see we're splitting this little hole at the back, and well, we're not splitting that hole at the front, which suggests to me that the underlying scan is not correctly rotated. So I'm just going to rotate a bit more till we can get that center line established a bit better. Yeah, that's better. All right, we'll lock that layer again. Okay. Now, we could do some fairly easy things, like there's clearly a circle there, which again, you could measure, and then you wouldn't have to do what I'm doing, which is kind of guessing. But, if you want to guess, so what we'll do is we'll just make sure that that circle is aligned to our center line. Make it a bit smaller. Now, see, it doesn't quite match up. And that could be because the scan's a bit iffy. It could be because the scan is not perfectly aligned. So if we do a better job of aligning the scan, then we just live with these errors. Bearing in mind that when I made carbon decals, I would cut them in paper first and check them against the part. You may not need to do that. So I can't really see a lot of this. I mean, you've got the real part and you can see, but what I'm trying to get at here is that the outline is clearly not any particular, useful shape. So for something like that, we can use a freeform line. We can do this in parts. So we can start on the center line, and we can sort of really roughly draw some of these curves. And of course, it doesn't work particularly well as first go, and that's okay. So we'll make that thinner and brighter. We do two things. We take the pointer and move the end of the line so that it is as clear as we can work out on the edge of the outline. And then we use our outline tool, starting from one end, and we can manipulate all these intermediate dots so that they're on what we think is the outline of this part. So instead of being sort of wavy and all over the place, it becomes a fairly nice, smooth, free-form shape. something like that'll do for now. Maybe more around like that. Don't really know. And you can see that starts to build up, pardon me, that starts to build up the shape. So for example, what we can do is I'm going to take this shape, copy it. I'm going to do a horizontally flipped version of it. And I'm going to stick it on the other one. And that gives us the other side of the tank. Now what I'm also going to do is I'm going to just sort of fairly arbitrarily add some meat onto the back of it. And that gets me, you can see, a shape that I can fill in like that. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. No, it didn't work. So I'm going to take this one. I'm going to add some more freeform onto that. And that did work, so we can fill. So we can union them together. And now we've got a shape which sort of represents the bottom end of this tank. And what I can do is take that, and we know there's a circle underneath it, do a subtract, and I have a shape which represents the bottom end of this tank, excluding the big hole in the middle. And that's how we start to build up shapes using freeform curves. Just one other quick little trick. When these things are sort of built, I actually like to fill them with transparent colors. So I set the transparency at a good sort of 50%, and you can actually then still see the scan underneath it. And other thing that happens is if we accidentally have or if we end up with multiple shapes, you can see that the intersections are a darker transparent shade, and that can be useful. And that's sort of broadly about it. You know, we turn off the scans, just make them invisible. Get rid of our center line, and we have a shape that represents the bottom part of this tank. And that's basically everything I wanted to show you. You can message me and let me know if that was or was not.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you, Isabel. Yes, message me, let me know if that's got what you want. That's it, and bye for now.